We've spoken before about how to tell the difference between a knockoff lace and real French lace. But today, instead of just doing a comparison side by side, I want to really focus in on what are the characteristics of authentic French lever's lace. Let's start by looking at the background of this lace. They call this the ground of the lace. See the variations in the size of the holes in that background netting that you see? This is not like a netting fabric that they are embroidering a lace pattern on. That background that you see that has less opacity than the actual lace motif really varies. It gives you a lot more depth and dimension than what you typically will see on other mass manufactured laces. You can also really see some variations in the thickness of the work that makes up the motif. Often you'll see this cording that they've gone back over and added. So you're going to often see layers of work that's done, not just one single step of embroidery, and certainly just not the second step of adding the cording for that extra dimension or outline. Now this edge that we see, that's also an indicator of fine lace. This is what we call the eyelash. As this diagram shows, you'll often have your ground pattern that you see, a nice scallop that goes along the edge and defines the border, and then you'll have that fine eyelash fringe that allows the lace to taper off in a very delicate way. Now you can truly appreciate the difference between the authentic eyelash of the lever's lace on the left and the embroidered faux eyelash look that they're going for with this embroidered on net lace on the right. Let's look at one more diagram here and another very specific example before we look at some beautiful, beautiful samples of lace. So it's showing you the waist, it's showing you the embroidery wrapping thread that produces the actual pattern for the motif. And the bobbin thread is just the thread work that's happening on the underside of the lace. Now let's look at this lever's lace. You can recognize the waist, the ground, the embroidery that's done with the wrapping thread. Now with this sample, I want you to see that it's not always floral. This is feathers. But when we get down to the bottom, you can see that you have your choice in the scallop shape, whichever one you want to cut away to form the eyelash for this particular piece of lace. So a lot of times with the lever's lace, you have a lot of artistic license of how you want to cut it and use it. And that's just something that's so exciting and special about it. Now here's another example of some very pretty modern embroidered lace. You can see how it's on this nylon net and it's embroidered on, which means basically like an embroidery sewing machine would sew in this picture of this lace. Often the back side of it will be much more flat looking than the outer correct side or right side of the lace. You'll see a dramatic difference. A lot of times with the lever's lace, you really kind of have to flip it and look closely for those raised areas to make sure the correct side is out, because the back side often can be quite beautiful. Here's another example of an embroidered on net lace that you'll see mass manufactured, and this one also has some cording on it as well. And here's the back side of that lace. You can see how the bobbin stitching is much more fine on the lever's lace than what you see in the other samples. So there is a distinct difference between the right side and the wrong side of the lace, but it's not quite as noticeable as what you see in the embroidered laces. Oh, now for the fun part. Remember how I was talking about the layers of embellishment that you can see on these laces? Just look at all the detail that has gone into this lace. So we don't just have the basic lace that they started with, but we have some clear seed beads, small pearls. We have ribbon work that was forming the petals of those flowers. We have flat sequins, sometimes cupped sequins. You'll see some clear things here, some things that have more of a pearl finish. So you have the depth even in the color and the clarity of the things that they add to these laces. Now here's some more ribbon work. But look at how lofty this is, and it's a little bit sparkly. It's an organza ribbon that they have added to the top of this lace to give it even more detail and dimension. And this is another example of a lace that's not distinctly floral. You can see some vines and paisleys in there. And then here is some metallic that is woven in with the lace. So this is not just added to the top, but it was actually part of the original weaving of the lace. Instead of it just being silk or nylon or polyester that's on those bobbins forming the lace, there's actually metallic thread in there. So you can see just how varied the looks are that you can get with this authentic French lever's lace. As always, I hope this video has helped you. Please don't forget to hit subscribe and to click the bell so that you're notified every time I upload. This lace is just gorgeous, isn't it? I hope it's just added just a little bit of sparkle to your day, just like it did mine. Take care.